Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Stop the kirtan.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari, Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Tira Vanachari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram. Jai Nidai Gauranga, Jaya Nidai Gauranga, Nidai Gauranga, Jaya Nidai Gauranga, Nidai Gauranga, Jaya Nidai Gauranga, Nidai Gauranga, Jaya Nidai Gauranga. Jai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Pad, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jam Vishnupad Paramans Parivraj Kacharya Sto Darshat His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, so we welcome all the devotees. We will be reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 4, entitled as The Transcendental Knowledge, and text number 9. Please repeat after me. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vedi tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamedi sorjuna. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vedi tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamedi sorjuna. We'll say it one more time. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjun. Please repeat the translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna. Purport. The Lord's descent from his transcendental abode is already explained in the sixth verse. One who can understand the truth of the appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage, and therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord, is only partial, and there is the risk of returning again to this material world. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body, and does not run the risk of returning again to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many forms and incarnations. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, there is still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to understand this fact with conviction, although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers, as stated in the Vedas. Eko Devo Nitya Lila Nurakto Bhakta Bhaktivyapi Hirdi Antaratma. The one Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many transcendental forms in relationship with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in the verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculations, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, one can without a doubt attain liberation. The Vedic version Tattvamasi is actually applied in this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the Supreme, or who says unto the Lord, "You are the same Supreme Brahman," the personality of Godhead, is certainly liberated instantly, and consequently his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion. Tam eva viditvati mrityumeti nanyaha pantha vidyate ayanaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no alternative, because anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance. Consequently, he will not attain salvation. Simply, so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Jnanatimiraandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chaksharoonmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashya Dadeshadarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees for today's Gita discussion. This is also another very important verse we are reading today. This is the verse more quoted than the famous verse from Bhagavad Gita. Many of you might have heard the famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, which was also at one time, maybe when we were all child, it was a title song of Mahabharata. Anybody knows? Everybody. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Right? Yada yada hi dharmasya. Like that is how it used to start, right? So that is 4.7. And what we are reading is 4.9, just before one or two verses before this. So that is a very important verse. But Srila Prabhupada quotes this verse more often than those verses. It means this is even more important. What is important? Something is revealed here, which is very, very difficult to attain in this world, even by the great scholars. So what Krishna is explaining in this verse, Janma karma cha me divyam. Janma karma cha me. My janma and my karma. Krishna comes here, and his karma, his activities, they are divyam, they are not ordinary. It might look ordinary at times. They are divyam. Divyam means they are transcendental. So janma karma cha me divyam. Evam yo means those. Veti means knows. Tattvataha. Those who knows this fact, they understand it rightly. Tattvataha. What looks like ordinary, Krishna is playing, Krishna is stealing, it looks like an ordinary child. But Krishna is saying it is all divyam, it is transcendental. Those who understand it, tattvataha, then what happens to them? Tyaktva deham punarjanmanaiti. Tyaktva deham, after leaving this body, after death, punarjanmanaiti. That person never takes birth again in this material world. Then what will happen to him? Where he'll go? Says, Mam eti so Arjuna. Arjun, that person who knows me in tattvataha, as a truth, my janma and karma. After leaving the body, he never takes birth again, but mameti, he comes back to me. We can go back to Krishna, we can be with Krishna. So that stage of being with Krishna in his abode, in a spiritual world, is the highest attainment one can ever achieve. There's nothing beyond that. Right? So there are different kind of liberations as being explained in the scriptures. First of all, Prabhupada is saying this liberation is not at all easy. Prabhupada is saying such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. So there's so many different types of spiritualists, they're trying for liberation. The different category of spiritualist, impersonalist, right? Those who doesn't believe in the personal form of the Lord, they're called the impersonalist. And the yogis, they do the meditation for many, many years and do a lot of austerities. Those kind of people. So they are all spiritualists, but even for them also to attain the liberation, and this kind of liberation is very, very difficult. It's not easy. One time, two scholars, these Gyanis, they came to Srila Prabhupada and they were in conversation, they're talking, discussing something from the scriptures. And after few minutes of discussion, they said that Swamiji, it is very difficult to understand who is God. They were the scholars. They read the scriptures very thoroughly, they read and all that. But their conclusion was that Swamiji, it is very difficult to determine, to exactly say that who is God. So Prabhupada was sitting, and then in the temple, and these people are talking, and there's some kids were playing around. So Prabhupada called one child, come here. The child came running, that Prabhupada is calling me. Right? And then Prabhupada asked him, who is God? To the child, not to the scholars. Prabhupada asked this child, a small child, who is God? So Prabhupada, usually when he sit on his asana and like that, so there used to be one small box of prasad. So whenever some guest comes, he'll take some cookies or some sweets like that. Somebody comes to meet, he'll give one sweet, something like that. So Prabhupada asked this child that who is God? His hand was on that prasadam box. The child thought, if I give the answer, my future is bright. I definitely get some sweet. So immediately, spontaneously, the child says, Krishna, loudly he says. And then Prabhupada turned toward these two scholars. Prabhupada said, look at this. You are saying it is difficult to understand who is God. Even this small child also knows who is God. And then Prabhupada again asked this child, who is Krishna? With the same hand on the box. So that was a little inspiration for him. So this boy again he says, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Like that. Prabhupada took out one cookie and gave to him and said, go play. And then Prabhupada turned toward these people. Says, here in a temple, even the small child knows who is God. And you are saying that it is difficult to understand who is God. So then these people, they don't know like how to really counter this. And so they say, but Swamiji is a small child. He doesn't know that how Krishna is God. Then Prabhupada, Krishna is saying here, it is very difficult. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yovedi tattvataha. To understand Krishna as it is tattvataha, people can't accept. How Krishna can be God is a small child running around, playing like a coward boy, stealing butter. Who steals the butter? Who steals in this world? Those who are in need. Those who doesn't have. That person has to steal. If you are calling this boy as a God, why is stealing? And that was a butter. Who steals butter in the world? They should steal something valuable, some gems, some gold or diamonds or something like that. So it is difficult to understand. Krishna is saying, Janma karma cha me divyam. My karma, my activities that Krishna performs, enacts those pastimes. Not easy to understand. But one who understands this, then tyaktva deham punar janma naiti. He will immediately get liberated. So this liberation, the goal of all the spiritualists is this liberation. So many jnanis, yogis and all of them, they are just trying hard for the liberation, but it's not easy. And there are different kind of liberation. So all these jnanis and yogis, if they get the liberation also, their liberation is go and merge into the Brahman. They call it Brahmaleen, that you go and merge yourself, vanish your identity. So this is the kind of liberation. Some of them, if they attain the perfection on their path, they can attain this kind of liberation. But the Bhagavatam explains there is always a risk of falling down again from that kind of liberation. So it's not at all easy. Tyaktva deham punar janmanaiti. Krishna is saying, Mameti so Arjuna. You come back to me. Who can go back to Krishna? And you can, for rest of your eternity, you can stay with Krishna. Stay with Krishna means you are staying in the spiritual world. There's no office hours. There's no old age. There's no disease. Vaikuntha. Topmost Vaikuntha. So this is the formula Krishna is revealing here. So point is, to understand Krishna is not at all easy. These great yogis, jnanis, they cannot understand. Forget about the jnanis and yogis of this material world. Even the great personalities in the creation, they failed to understand Krishna. As great as Lord Brahma. Brahmaji is the first created being, not simple person. He created the entire universe where we are living. How intelligent he must have been. He doesn't even have the one head, he has 4 heads. Super smart. Right? He failed to understand. He got confused. When he saw Krishna, Krishna was running in Vrindavan, stealing butter and doing all those things. He was confused. He thought, who is the child and why everybody is so enchanted? Why so all these Vrindavan Vasis, why they are so much attracted to this small child? And then he attempted to test Krishna. He steals Krishna's cows and the calves and Krishna's friends. It's a famous pastime. This is famous as Brahma Bimohan Leela. So he thought, I'll test this Krishna. But this Brahmaji got Bimohan. He got bewildered. Krishna did something. So he stole all these cows, calves, all his friends, and everyone was stolen. Say, okay, let me see now how this small boy, how he'll handle this situation. But next moment he found that Krishna is playing with all his friends and cows and calves. He was wondering, I stole them. I put them under the cave somewhere hiding. Nobody can even reach there. And by the time he came back, Krishna is already playing with all of them. So he got bewildered. Brahma Bimohan Leela. And then he was wondering what happened. Then he again goes back, he checked that they're there. Then he found they're all there in the cave, and Krishna is playing with them. So he then finally, he realized that this Krishna is not some ordinary child. Right? And then he came and he begged forgiveness to Krishna. That, my dear Lord, please forgive me. I did such a thing that I attempted to test you. You are my Lord. You created me. Right? But then Brahmaji also, he says, my dear Lord, I know that I got bewildered. It is my mistake. I should not have done. But it is not 100% my mistake. It is your mistake also. If you do like this, who will understand that you are God? And then he gives the description. That what he says, Vanye Shraje Kavala Vetra Vishana Venu, that you are roaming in the forest. How you are roaming? You are not even properly dressed, like a coward boy. With all this Vanye Shraje, all this forest flowers in the hair and some garland like that. You are roaming around, playing, and all of that. And in your hand, you are holding this little curd and rice, and you are eating, running, and like that. Who will understand that you are God? So it is not my mistake that I got confused. Anybody can get confused. So these are the kind of pastime. That is why Krishna is saying, Janma karma cha me divyam, my karma, my activities, my pastimes, they are divyam actually. They are transcendental. It may look ordinary, but they are not ordinary. They are transcendental. Krishna comes here in this material world and he performs those human-like pastimes. And there is a reason. Krishna acts exactly like an ordinary human child. There is a reason for that. Because he wants to attract all the conditioned souls. Right? So he becomes one among them. And he says, I'm also like you. I'm playing and I'm doing this. And that is how he attracts everyone by his pastimes. That is why Anugraya Bhaktanam Manusham Deham Ashritaha. So to show the mercy on all the conditioned living entities in this world, Manusham Deha Ashritaha. Krishna takes the Manushya Deha. Though it is not a Manushya Deha, it is Divyam. But it looks like ordinary human. And Krishna does all those pastimes. And then not everybody can understand that. And that is what Krishna is referring here, that Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvada. Brahmaji got bewildered. Another pastime comes in the Bhagavatam. Another great personality got bewildered. Any idea who was that other person? Who? We'll be celebrating that festival in just 2 days. Indra. Right? That whole Govardhan pastime happens. That Krishna lifted the Govardhan. Why? Because Indra also got confused. He says, why everybody is like, listening to this child and they're denying my worship? All these Brajvasis. So there was a tradition in the Vrindavan that every year they used to worship Indra Devata. Because he is the god of rains. And all this coward community, they are dependent on the rains. So the tradition was that you worship the Indra Devata and then they will send the rain and that is how you prosper. You are an enter community. But one time when all this preparation was going on, Krishna comes and he says to Nanda Maharaj's father, that no need to do all this Indra worship. Better you worship Govardhan hill. And he convinced, a small child, he convinced all the Brajvasis. And all the same preparation which was made for Indra worship, they use the same thing for worshipping the Govardhan. Indra got offended. So what is this? They have been worshipping me for so many years. Suddenly because of this child, who is this impudent child? Let me teach him a lesson. And that is when, this Indra starts sending for the torrential rains and flooding the entire Vrindavan and the entire Braj. And then everyone started calling out, Krishna, Krishna, please help. And then Krishna, what he did? He had to open one umbrella, big umbrella. So he lifted the entire Govardhan on a little finger. So that is a famous pastime. So even Indra got bewildered, Brahmaji got bewildered. Who can understand Krishna? Krishna is saying it is not easy. Janma karma cha me divyam. They're all transcendental pastime. But people can't understand tattvadaha. And later again this Indra also comes in front of the Lord, bow down, and again he begs forgiveness. Right? He says, my intelligence was bewildered. But I pray to you, let my consciousness never again be so impure. I became a little proud. I thought, who is this child? So like that, all these great personalities like Indra, Brahma, they're getting bewildered. Not easy to understand Krishna. but one who understands can very easily attain this liberation. So this is a very special thing that Krishna offers. Who understand Krishna? So all these jnanis, yogis, intellectuals, logicians, they will fail to understand Krishna. Not easy to understand Krishna like that. But who can understand? Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyat shasvitatvadaha. My bhakt, my devotee can easily understand me. Now question is, if all these great logicians and scholars and intellectuals, they fail to understand, how devotee understand then? What is so special about devotee? Devotee understand not by his logical abilities. He doesn't try to analyze Krishna. In Vrindavan, nobody try to analyze Krishna. Right? In Vrindavan, nobody even cares that Krishna is God. They doesn't care. They just love spontaneously Krishna. So this is what the devotion is. So how the devotee understand Krishna? Tattvataha. Process is very simple. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Badasevanam. When we hear about Krishna from the authentic, from the bona fide sources. Just by hearing about Krishna from the devotees, you can understand. When you read Bhagavad Gita, when you read Bhagavatam, of course in a Guru Sishya Parampara, from the bona fide source, when we read and then Bhagavatam says Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. I am the source of everything and everyone. Matta Paratharam Nanya. There is no superior truth beyond me. When you faithfully, with Shraddha, when we hear this, Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam, with faith, when we hear from a pure devotee, then that understanding will be revealed into our heart. So this is the process. Right? By seva, by hearing, but with faith. Otherwise, nobody can understand Krishna. Very, very difficult. Even, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and this Damodar Leela happens. So there, this verse comes where it is said, Shukdev Goswami is explaining there, Nemam Virincho na bhavo na shrir anga samshraya prashade le bire gopi yattat prap vimuktidad. So it says, na imam. Virincho is referred to the Brahmaji. Not this Brahmaji. Na bhavo. Bhavo means the Shiva, Lord Shiva. Not Brahmaji, not Lord Shiva, na Shrir. Shri is Lakshmi ji. Not even the Lakshmi. She is the eternal consort of the Supreme Lord. She is always with the Lord. Even they also does not get the special mercy. The mercy which Prashade le bhire gopi. Prashadam, that Prashad means the mercy. The special kripa, special mercy which this gopi received. Which gopi? Mother Yashoda. What is the special mercy that Mother Yashoda received? She is controlling Krishna. She is saying, Krishna, sit down here. Krishna had to sit down. Who get this kind of mercy, this kind of a special control over the Supreme Lord? Nobody got it. Brahmaji can't do that. Brahmaji can't even dare to say, Krishna, sit here. He would never dare to do that. Even Lakshmi ji or Lord Shiva. But Yashoda Mai can do that. Why? So it is explained, Tata Prema Bhaktim, so Kamya Prayacha, this Prema Bhakti, the devotion, that spontaneous devotion, that is the qualification. It's not only that you understand Krishna, but you can in fact control Krishna. And this is what is the super excellent quality of Krishna, which is demonstrated through this pastime of Damodar Leela. So in this month, Kartik month, we are celebrating this Damodar Leela. So through this Damodar Leela, Krishna is showing a very, very special quality. And that quality which he doesn't give access to anyone, but given to Yashoda Mai, Prashadam le bhire gopi. What is that quality? Harina Bhritya Vashyata. That Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. He is Bhritya Vashyata. Bhritya means the servant. He comes under the Vashyata, under the control of his servant. Which servant can control the boss? Boss is boss because he controls. Right? But here is a boss. Krishna is the boss of everyone, but he comes under the control of his own devotee. Harina Amritya Vashyada. How do you understand this? So many wonderful things that Krishna is doing, teaching People will get bewildered that how is it possible? Krishna has been glorified in the scriptures as one of the feature of Krishna. And in the scriptures, he is called as Atmaram, one of the name of Krishna. Atmaram means he is self-satisfied. He is self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything, right? But that same Krishna who is Atmaram, he woke up from his sleep and he is asking, Mother, I need milk. Who is asking? One who is Atmaram, self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything from anyone. He is asking for the milk. Says, what kind of God he is? He need milk. Somebody has to give him the milk. And you are telling him that he is God. That is why Krishna is saying, Janma karma cha me divyam. My karma is divyam, transcendental. You cannot understand. Another feature of Krishna has been explained. Krishna is glorified as Aptkam. The meaning of Aptkam means he is easily satisfied. Krishna says, confirms that in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prachati. Just a little tulsi leaf, little flower, one fruit or little water you offer. Krishna says, I am happy, I am satisfied. So Krishna's quality is he can very easily get satisfied with some small offering. But the same Krishna, when Yashodama is feeding and in between she left him aside, Krishna was not satisfied and Krishna got angry. So I am not satisfied, how you can leave me in between? So the person who gets satisfied with little offering is not satisfied. This is also very contradictory. He got angry. Who gets angry in this world? So Krishna explains, Kamat krodho bijayate. Why anger comes? There is a psychology. When your desire is not fulfilled, your desire is not satisfied, immediately you get angry. Oh, I wanted this, I didn't get that, I am upset. I am angry. Right? So people in this material world, because their desires are not fulfilled, they get angry. Or another way of putting it is, one who is under the influence of the modes of this material world, Rajogun, Tamogun, in their influence, they get angry. Now here Krishna is getting angry. Who is called Gunatit. Gunatit means he is beyond the influence of all the modes and he is getting angry here. So these are the kind of contradictions. Right? Krishna is glorified as he is all pervading Lord. He is there everywhere. Andantarastha parmanu chayantarastham. He is there everywhere. Now, how do you bind someone who is there everywhere? Entire universe is everywhere. It's there in each and every atom. How do you bind that person? But that person is getting bound here by Mother Yashoda. So that is why Shukdev Goswami is glorifying Prashadam Lebire Gopi. The special mercy this Yashodama has got, nobody can get this mercy because she controls Krishna by her love. Krishna gets controlled by the spontaneous love. So it's very difficult to understand. The all-pervaded Lord is bound by a small rope. You're binding the Lord by the rope, like that. So this is, and then Krishna was crying. Krishna started crying because Mother Yashoda was showing the stick. Now you see in this material world, people are crying. They're suffering so much of anxieties. Their hearts are crying. They say that modern age situation is smiling faces, crying hearts. That's the story of the modern man. We are all very good, taking the selfies, smiling as if he's the most happy person in the world. You look at all the social, pictures. Everybody is smiling only. But the reality is everybody is crying in the heart. Nobody is happy and contented. So when people cry, they get some good sense. They go to God. They go to Krishna. And when you take the shelter of Krishna, the crying person can stop crying and start smiling. So somebody just by going to Krishna, the crying person can smile. But here Krishna is crying. How do you understand that? So these are the kind of contradictions. So this is, Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha, Ananda Vigraha, always blissful. That Lord is crying here. So like that, many, such contradictions. Krishna gets scared. Arudantam muhur netram yugmam marjantam. Karam bhoja yugmena sa atanka netram. So atanka netram means his eyes were terrified. He got so scared with a small stick of Mother Yashoda. He started crying and his eyes are filled with, the word is used is atank. not bhaya. Bhaya means fear. When fear goes to its superlative degree, it becomes atank. Right? Krishna was atankit. He was terrified by the stick of Mother Yashoda. Like that. Who is this Krishna? Bhagavatam is glorifying Mad bhayat vati vatoyam surya tapati mad bhayat. Bhagavatam says, Krishna is saying in the Bhagavatam, Mad bhayat vati vatoyam, because of my fear wind is blowing. Because of my fear the sun is shining. Because of my fear Indra is sending for the rain. Yamraj is the fear personified. Yam Devda, Yamraj. Yamraj is fearful of Krishna. And this Krishna is fearful of the small stick of Mother Yashoda. This is Divyam. This is transcendental pastimes of Krishna. Not easy to understand unless all these pastimes are read and heard under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. People will miss the tattvata. So that is why Krishna is saying, Evam yo veti tattvataha. Stories everybody knows. Right? Knowing the stories is easy. But if we don't understand the Krishna tattva, then those stories are very entertaining stories. Amused. You can listen and say, oh wow, and you clap. You tell your kids. But that's not enough. We should also, along with the stories, we need to understand the tattva of Krishna. Then it is really meaningful. And that is what Krishna is urging here, and he is also revealing this secret, the formula that one who knows me, tattvataha, like this, then that person can easily, after leaving the body, he can comes back to me, which is not easy by great yogis, jnanis, and many transcendentalists like that. But it is made very easy that we understand Krishna. How do we understand Krishna? By listening about Krishna. How to listen? Faithfully we have to listen. We have to listen with Shraddha, with faith, and from the bona fide source, from the Guru Sishya Parambara, from the bona fide Acharya, in the association of devotee. Like that, when we hear, then we can very easily understand Krishna. And when we understand Krishna, we become qualified to get free from this bondage of repeated cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. And we can go back to Krishna, Mameti, so Arjun, the devotee comes back to me, and forever, for rest of our eternity, we can live with Krishna happily and blissfully. Okay. So we'll pause here. Let me see if anybody has any quick questions or any comment, or anybody wants to ask something or add something. Can you distribute the beats? Okay. So if there's no question, then we'll chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra now. Any of the devotees, we have to chant one round. Anybody is coming first time? Is there someone who's coming, visiting first time? Okay, I see some hand. Hare Krishna, welcome. So we'll have a special gift for you, so you can collect before you leave from the back counter, around like during the Arati time. We have to chant, and that is at 12:50. Okay. Give me one bead at least, I can chant. How many of you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra? Okay, some of you. Those who are not chanting, you are waiting for something like more explanation or some good murtha. Or please do chant. It's a very simple yet very profound process. Chanting of Krishna's name is the process recommended, and in fact this is the only process which can connect us to the Lord. And especially now many of you know that this Kartik month is going on, very special, and the scriptures says that during this month any spiritual activity performed during this month has 1,000 times benefits. So please take this opportunity, chant daily. Those who are not chanting, please start chanting. Those who are already chanting, increase your number of rounds of chanting. And also it is recommended in the Skanda Puran that during this Kartik month one should offer the ghee lamp to the Lord Damodar daily. So if any of you have not been doing this, still we have few more days left for this month. So please start doing this every day, any time of the day you can do this. Just light a ghee lamp show to the Lord Damodar, Lord Krishna's picture, or if you have any deity in the home, so you can show. And along with that, if you can recite the Damodar Ashtakam Bhajan, that will be additionally benefited. If you think it is very difficult for you to recite, you doesn't know the lyrics and all that, you can just play a track. There's a lot of, you go on YouTube and say Damodar Ashtakam, so play along and then offer the ghee lamp and then chant some Hare Krishna Kirtan also after that, and chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra and read Bhagavad Gita daily. Okay, so let us now chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra together. Please repeat after me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so we'll all chant together. Try to chant along in sync. Chant loud and clear so that you can hear. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.